In a bustling city filled with diverse cultures and vibrant communities, one man stood out not just for his skills, but for his unwavering dedication to helping others. This man was a Mexican national working as an emergency responder, whose life revolved around serving the public in their most desperate moments. He had always dreamed of making a difference, and he achieved this through years of hard work and commitment. From an early age, he knew he wanted to join the medical field. After completing his training, he moved to the United States, seeking better opportunities to fulfill his passion for saving lives. With a warm smile and a compassionate heart, he quickly earned the respect of both his colleagues and the community he served. His days were often filled with responding to emergencies, offering comfort in times of fear, and bringing hope where it seemed lost. His reputation grew as a reliable figure during crises. Known for staying calm under pressure, he had saved countless lives and was loved by many for his selflessness. The people in his community looked up to him as a hero long before anyone else recognized it. His commitment extended beyond just performing medical procedures. He also educated children about safety and health, instilling values of kindness and courage in the next generation. Little did he know that one fateful day would change everything. While attending a public event, he witnessed something alarming. A U.S. senator collapsed right before his eyes. Without hesitation, he rushed forward to provide life-saving CPR, showcasing not only his training but also his incredible bravery. This moment would soon catapult him into the national spotlight in ways he could never have imagined. The bright afternoon was filled with excitement as the community gathered for a local event featuring several prominent speakers, including a well-respected U.S. senator. As he shared inspiring stories and engaged with the crowd, a sudden hush fell over the audience when he suddenly stumbled and collapsed on the stage. Gasps of shock echoed through the crowd, followed by frantic murmurs as people rushed to figure out what had happened. In that moment of chaos, panic set in as witnesses realized there was no immediate medical assistance on hand. People scrambled for their phones to call emergency services, while others rushed forward to check on the senator. Amidst the confusion, our hero, the Mexican emergency responder, was present in the crowd, immediately sensing that something was terribly wrong. Without thinking twice, he pushed his way through the anxious crowd to reach the senator lying motionless on the ground. He quickly assessed the situation and determined that immediate action was required. With his training kicking in, he knelt beside the senator and began to perform CPR. His hands moved with purpose. Each compression of his chest was driven by determination to save a life. As he worked diligently, time seemed to stretch, but his focus remained sharp despite the crowd's worried faces surrounding him. He called out for someone nearby to help him. Every second felt critical. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, there was a faint response from the senator, a gasp of air that broke through the stillness. Cheers erupted from those watching as they realized their senator was alive. The emergency responder continued his efforts until professional medical personnel arrived moments later to take over. Little did he know that this act of courage would soon lead him down an unexpected path that would change his life forever. In the minutes following the senator's revival, the atmosphere shifted from panic to relief, but it wasn't just the crowd that noticed the heroic act. News cameras captured every moment, and reporters quickly began to swarm the scene, eager to document the drama that had unfolded. The Mexican emergency responder became an instant sensation, hailed as a hero for his quick actions that saved a life in front of a captivated audience. As the story spread, social media exploded with praise for him. Hashtags celebrating his bravery trended nationally, and clips of the incident circulated widely, showcasing not only the rescue, but also the emotions of the crowd. Witnesses shared their testimonies, describing how they felt helpless until they saw him rush forward without hesitation. "He was our angel in that moment," one attendee said tearfully, capturing the sentiment of many. Local news outlets conducted interviews with community members who described how this responder had always been there for them in times of need, both as a first responder and a caring neighbor. His reputation only grew as people recalled past instances where he had gone above and beyond to help others. However, amidst all the accolades and admiration, questions arose about his immigration status. Rumors began to circulate about his visa situation, leading to concern among supporters who feared that his newfound attention might draw unwanted scrutiny from authorities. While people celebrated his courage, some worried about what this recognition could mean for him in a world where immigration issues were complex and fraught with challenges. Despite these concerns, his community rallied around him, organizing events to honor his bravery and calling for support. As stories continued to pour in from all corners of the nation, it became clear that this act of selflessness had sparked a much larger conversation about heroism and immigration policy, one that would soon reach far beyond their local community. Just as the nation was celebrating the heroic actions of the Mexican emergency responder, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Several weeks after the incident where he saved the senator's life, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, agents arrived at the hospital where he worked. They detained him based on claims that his work visa had expired. This development shocked not only the responder, but also the community that had rallied around him just days earlier. While ICE agents cited paperwork issues, they were unaware that his employer had already applied for a visa extension. The hospital, recognizing his invaluable contributions and commitment to patient care, had been proactive in ensuring his legal status was maintained. This oversight by ICE highlighted a troubling gap in communication and understanding of the situation. The news of his detention spread quickly, igniting outrage among community members and supporters across the country. People who once celebrated him as a hero now found themselves grappling with this harsh reality. Vigils and protests sprang up outside the detention center as citizens voiced their support for him, demanding his release and asking how someone who had literally saved a life could be treated this way. His story also caught the attention of local politicians, who began calling for immediate action to rectify what they saw as an unjust situation. The senator himself heard of the developments and was reportedly dismayed to learn that the very man who had saved his life was now facing such adversity. Phone calls and letters flooded local offices as constituents urged lawmakers to intervene on behalf of the responder, turning this individual case into a broader conversation about immigration reform and its impact on those who contribute positively to society. Once praised for his bravery, he now faced an uphill battle against a system that should have recognized his worth. The community's reaction to the emergency responder's detention was swift and powerful. Fueled by anger and disbelief, local residents quickly organized protests outside the detention center where he was being held. Signs proclaiming "Heroes deserve justice" and "Free our responder" filled the streets as supporters gathered to voice their outrage. The atmosphere buzzed with determination as chants of solidarity echoed through the air. Local organizations dedicated to immigrant rights joined the movement, providing resources and support for those advocating on behalf of the responder. They emphasized that his detention was not just an isolated incident, but part of a troubling pattern affecting countless immigrants who contribute positively to society. Many in the crowd shared personal stories, illustrating how their lives have been touched by the responder's kindness and professional care during emergencies. Community leaders also stepped up, organizing town hall meetings to discuss the situation more broadly. They invited speakers from immigrant advocacy groups to shed light on issues facing undocumented workers and the importance of reforming immigration policies that often overlook essential human qualities, such as bravery and compassion. These discussions brought together people from all walks of life, doctors, teachers, families, who united in support of a common cause. As word spread, support grew beyond local borders. Social media played a significant role in amplifying their message, with hashtags calling for justice trending nationwide. Celebrities and public figures began to take notice, sharing posts in solidarity and urging followers to rally behind the responder's cause. Through these protests and community efforts, individuals began to feel a sense of empowerment and purpose as they fought for what they believed was right. It became clear that this movement was about more than just one person's plight. It symbolized a larger struggle for justice and equality in the face of bureaucratic challenges that too often dismiss the value of human life. As the national conversation surrounding the emergency responders' detention grew, the senator who had been saved by his life-saving actions began to reflect on his own experience. The near-death incident had profoundly affected him, changing his perspective on many issues he once took for granted, especially those related to immigration and the contributions of immigrants to society. He realized that without the responders' quick thinking and courage, he might not be here at all. Feeling a deep sense of gratitude and responsibility, the senator decided it was time to speak out publicly in support of the responder. He organized a press conference, inviting media outlets to hear directly from him about what had happened that day and how it had reshaped his views. This man is not just a hero. He is a vital part of our community, he declared passionately, underscoring that he would advocate for the responders' release and for justice. His words resonated across the nation as he recounted how someone who had given so selflessly in an emergency should not be treated as a criminal. The senator shared personal stories about their brief interaction during those chaotic moments, emphasizing the respondents' professionalism and humanity. He saved my life, but more importantly, he represents countless others like him whose worth should never be measured by their immigration status. As news of the senator's advocacy spread, it further fueled public interest in the case. Supporters rallied around both men, feeling empowered by this unexpected alliance between a high-profile politician and an immigrant hero. More rallies were planned, with people expressing solidarity both for the responder situation and for broader immigration reform. The senator vowed to use his platform to push legislation that protects those who contribute positively to society, recognizing that true heroism knows no borders. His fervent commitment added even more momentum to a movement that was quickly gaining traction across various media channels and public forums nationwide. Following the senator's powerful advocacy, national media outlets turned their focus to the story of the detained emergency responder and the surrounding immigration issues. News reports flooded in from every corner, covering his heroic actions that saved a life while simultaneously exploring the complex realities faced by immigrants in the U.S. Each story showcased not only his bravery, but also how his detention highlighted systemic flaws in immigration policy. Major news networks featured in-depth interviews with experts on immigration law, shedding light on how many hard-working individuals like the responder often find themselves caught in bureaucratic tangles. Opinion pieces began to emerge, challenging the notion that one's worth should be defined by their immigration status. Journalists painted a vivid picture of the responder as a vital member of society, a man who had selflessly rushed to save a life, now being unjustly treated. Social media buzzed with discussions fueled by hashtags calling for justice and reform. Influencers and celebrities shared messages of support, amplifying awareness and providing platforms for immigrant rights organizations to express their perspectives. As articles circulated online, people from across the country voiced their opinions about what true heroism really looks like, urging lawmakers to reconsider how they approach cases similar to this one. The narrative quickly spread beyond traditional print and broadcast media. Podcasts and live talk shows began inviting guests to share their experiences regarding immigration policies and community heroism. Panel discussions with community leaders emerged as public forums where citizens grappled with questions about identity, belonging, and the values of compassion versus strict enforcement. As more attention filled headlines across America, it became clear that this story had transcended local interest. It sparked widespread conversations about how the nation defines its heroes and prompted many to advocate for change in immigration legislation that could ensure others like him would not face such injustice. The movement was not just about one individual anymore. It was part of a growing hunger for humanity and fairness in the system itself. As the narrative surrounding the detained emergency responder continued to gain traction, public opinion began to shift significantly regarding immigration enforcement. People started to question the fairness of a system that could treat a life-saving hero as a criminal simply due to his immigration status. This moment served as a wake-up call for many who had previously been indifferent or misinformed about the challenges faced by immigrants. Polls conducted during this period revealed a growing sentiment among citizens that immigration policies should prioritize humanity and contributions rather than strict adherence to regulations. Many began to see first responders like the Mexican emergency responder not only as essential workers, but as integral members of their communities. This change in perspective was particularly evident among those who had relied on such professionals during emergencies or crises. The senator's vocal support played a crucial role in amplifying these views, framing the discussion around compassion and recognition of those who dedicate their lives to helping others. Community forums and discussions sprung up across various platforms, where individuals shared personal stories about how immigrants had positively impacted their lives. These testimonials added depth and emotion to the debate, illustrating that behind every statistic was a human being with hopes and dreams. As more citizens engaged in conversations about immigration enforcement, they began advocating for reforms that would protect individuals who contribute positively to society, regardless of their legal status. Activists argued that policies should reflect a commitment to community well-being rather than fear-based enforcement tactics. This shift in public opinion gained momentum, influencing lawmakers who were now under pressure to reconsider existing policies. The movement highlighted an essential truth. When people are given the chance to see beyond labels and recognize shared humanity, powerful changes can occur. The story of the emergency responder became a catalyst for broader discussions about justice, empathy, and the true meaning of heroism in society today. As the movement for justice and reform gained momentum, discussions began to evolve around the legal implications of ICE's actions against the emergency responder. Legal experts expressed concerns that the detention of someone who had saved a life raised significant ethical questions about how immigration laws are enforced. They argued that policies should not only take into account the legal status of individuals, but also their contributions to society. The situation presented a unique opportunity for advocates to push for legislative changes that would protect individuals like the responder who demonstrate bravery and civic responsibility. Many called for a reassessment of immigration policies to incorporate provisions that recognize the positive impact immigrants have on their communities. Proposals included pathways to legal residency for essential workers and first responders who meet certain criteria, emphasizing their vital roles during emergencies. Furthermore, advocates highlighted the need for training and accountability within ICE and similar agencies to ensure that detentions do not unjustly penalize those who contribute positively rather than pose a threat to society. Legal challenges began to emerge, with some lawyers considering filing motions arguing that the responder's detention violated principles of fair treatment and due process. The national conversation also highlighted broader systemic issues within immigration law, prompting lawmakers to explore comprehensive reforms. Some proposed establishing a clear framework for evaluating individual cases based on contributions rather than solely on legal status. This reimagining of immigration enforcement could foster a more just approach, allowing those who serve communities to be recognized and rewarded rather than punished. As public support continued to grow, there was hope that the emergency responder story could become a catalyst for change in how the nation views immigrants and their significant roles. The demand for a more humane immigration system resonated deeply with many citizens, encouraging them to advocate for policies that reflect shared values of compassion and justice, ensuring that no hero would ever be treated unjustly again. The journey of the Mexican emergency responder, who transitioned from being a local hero to facing unjust detention, illuminates profound themes of heroism, community support, and the need for immigration reform. His story is a testament to how individual actions can resonate on a larger scale, inspiring nationwide discussions about the values that define society. The overwhelming response from his community not only celebrated his bravery, but also underscored the collective belief that those who contribute selflessly should be honored, not punished. This case opened up dialogues about the complexities of immigration policies, specifically how they often fail to account for the invaluable contributions of individuals who show courage in their everyday lives. As public sentiment began to shift, it became clear that more people were recognizing the importance of compassion over rigidity in legal matters. The discussion around this responder's plight transformed from an isolated incident into a broader movement advocating for human rights and dignity. Moreover, the senator's powerful advocacy highlighted the potential for change when leaders listen to their constituents and stand alongside them in solidarity. This kind of support fosters community resilience and empowers people to push for reform. As the nation continued to engage with the narrative, many began to understand that real heroism transcends borders and legal distinctions. Ultimately, this situation serves as a call to action for lawmakers and citizens alike. It reminds everyone that immigration reform is not just a political issue. It's about shaping a society that values empathy and recognizes shared humanity. By telling individual stories, like that of the emergency responder, we can inspire transformative change and ensure that future heroes are celebrated and protected rather than marginalized. The power of community support and advocacy has proven that together, we can create a more just system that honors all who work tirelessly for the greater good.